So this was originally the video I was going to post as the start to Season 7. This is my opinions on how well each character did for their comic book character portrayal. This is a list of actors and their portrayal of comic book characters. So on the bottom, I haven't watched. There is one of them I have watched since, and that is Starfire. I don't know enough about Titans to know Beast Boy, but I have watched a lot with the Starfire clips, because one of the YouTubers I watch, just some guy, has talked about the controversy with the characters and all that. So yeah, she's okay as Starfire. I'll just put that up right there. She's alright. She is not the greatest Starfire I have ever seen. In fact, she's the only Starfire in live action. I don't think she was the right choice, though. Starfire has never been black in any other medium. Yeah, I know all the others are cartoons, but even the others, she's always been portrayed with more, I don't know, like, she's always a little more pale. Maybe a little tan. I don't know. But they even change a little bit of her attitude. She seems a lot more aggressive and a lot more like, how a black stereotype acts. Now, I'm sure the actress is amazing in other roles. She does seem fairly good, at least with what she has for the script. But it feels like too much of a change to the character's personality. The look doesn't bug me all that much. I thought they got the look all right, although it still bugs me. The rest I haven't seen. Well, one of them I have. I just can't remember who he is portraying in the comics, and I don't have enough background knowledge on the comic book variant. Yeah. So next we have the absolutely terrible, worst of the worst. So we have Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl. This just came down to how cheesy the writing was. She had the look down pretty well. She had the mask in one scene, which I think would have done a lot better, but it was so close to the male version at that point. Yeah. I do think they did a good job for what they had. It was overall a fairly decent portrayal. Next, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Oh god, this one was so stupid. I enjoy this, but it's just way too corny. Way too corny. And then we have Iron Fist. He actually was not a bad pick. This one mostly comes from the writing and how dull the show gets, because it doesn't have much action set pieces. So he doesn't get to show his powers off very much, and he didn't have the right look, at least for the majority of the time. They did start adding his more comic book accurate look, and the series did get better and better, but for the starting point, and for most of his character, he was not too great as Iron Fist. Then, I know there's more on the other side, but I'll get to that later. Then we have the Mr. Fantastic from Fanforstic. This actor's just mean. He's a terrible actor. I would never want to work with this guy in my life. From everything I've seen him in, he's overly braggy. He's a sore thumb, and he comes off as the most dull Reed Richards I've seen. He's just dull, boring, and mean, which is not Reed. Reed is a little bit dull, but he has a fun side to him, which you can see in the other Fantastic Four movies. Next, we have Commissioner Gordon from the Batman movies, portrayed by, I don't know his name, but he's the one you can still see in The Shame, so you can probably figure out which one's Commissioner Gordon. He is a fairly decent Commissioner Gordon in his voice. I just don't think he looks anything like Commissioner Gordon, and he didn't have very many powerful scenes that connected him with Batman very well. I just felt like most of his scenes, other than briefing Batman, were fairly filler. You could have used Alfred to brief Batman and just get right to the action. But he does have connections to some of the other characters, and he wasn't bad. He's just not very essential. And the way they made him look wasn't quite as accurate to the Jim Gordon I know. Next, we have the Jean Grey, the young Jean Grey from Days of Future Past onward. Yeah, same problem. She's not mean from anything. She's not quite mean at all. But her character comes off as really dull. I've seen that to be a problem with Jean. Jean has always been the kind head figure. I have noticed people can't really write kind characters all that well. I even struggle with it sometimes when I'm writing. But that's why they're always in a supporting role. And they're more the people that talk down people, because you can get the kind nature of a character down like that. That's the role Jean played for most of the part until she was Phoenix. Then she, became a villain, and it was more the tragedy angle. Overall, it was not terrible at all. It was just dull, was all. Alright, so we have Bane. He is literally just a screeching gorilla. Bane in the comic books has never been just a screeching gorilla. Bane has always been a calculating, very smart individual. And that was the twist in the comics, because, he's the really strong guy, but he's a really, really smart man. And in this, they just play him as a henchman monkey type. Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin, she was not good. She just, the look was terrible. The acting mostly came down to the writing parts. It was bad writing. It was way too cheesy. Next, we have the Invisible Woman from Fantastic. She was just dull. She has the look down amazing. It's just extremely dull, and I couldn't stand to watch any of the scenes. I couldn't really stand to watch any of that movie. It was very, very dull. And I know I'm going to be saying dull a lot, but that's because a lot of these characters have a lot more vibrance in them than these portrayals show. Next, we have Captain Marvel. Now, this one more comes down to the character, how she has changed in the comics, and the actress is a complete nutter. Horrible, horrible person. Ever since Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, she, I'm sure that it didn't start directly after that, but that's the one I know. She was also in there as Scott's ex. I forget which her name is. Envy. There we go. But yeah, she's not a very nice actress, and she always feels like she's trying to be the top person and steal the show, and it just gets grating. The look and everything else in the Captain Marvel movie was fine. On top of the fact that the tokenism with female is not great. Sue Storm, the look was fine. She just had that, way too standard, like bog standard female, like always needing a man for help sort of thing, always asking for Reed's help. She never seemed to stand on her own a lot. She did on occasion, but that was more to show she could do it, and then it goes back to normal after that scene. So it felt very, flip-floppy, and was not overall, solid throughout. But she wasn't a bad choice by any means. A lot better than the other person they cast. Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. This one directly is all writing. He has the he looks amazing as Superman. A costume department in any of the DCEU, okay, not any. The newest Wonder Woman movie is not great on the costume department. Well, some of it is. I don't know. But in Man of Steel, it was great. But it comes down to how dull and how, like, he's just this giant savior. And how they pushed it as a religious movie. It's getting harder to find the evidence of it, but it does exist out there. Once again, just some guy has had a couple of videos about this. The religious symbolism with Superman and all that got very grating. And he just seemed way too dull. He didn't seem like he was saving because he wanted to help. He seemed like he was saving because he had to help. Versus the wanting, and it gets... He seems... the Clark Kent persona doesn't seem as fleshed out either. It doesn't seem like he's doing it to be a man. He's doing it more to show that he's not a god, sort of thing. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I just found the performance and writing not too terrific, honestly. Next, we have, I forget his name. Maxwell Lord, there we go. Yeah, he was alright as the evil Maxwell Lord. I will buy that. His look was even pretty dang good. This one mostly comes down to the writing and what they could have done with Maxwell Lord. So in the comic books, he was like a side friend of the Justice League and helped them for years. We're talking decades. And then he betrays them at one point, and it's supposed to be a really big shock when Wonder Woman kills him. I forget, JLE Act of God, I think, is a storyline. Linkara has a couple of videos about it. Overall, it was a twist. I do think they could have made that work if they kept him as a villain to do that with. Or made him a Wonder, built him up, and then did that in a Wonder Woman solo movie. That makes sense. But he was just a waste. He didn't seem like all that much of a threat. No offense, but the whole wishing thing in the movie was just confusing. The writing was really confusing, and I think they wasted a lot of the really good villains. And yeah. Next we have Batman from, I believe that one is Batman Forever? It's either Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. I don't know, but he was the one I didn't care for. He seemed a little too smug. That's about it. He just seemed a little too smug, so he's sunk down. Just because all the other portrayals are a lot better. Now, decent writing, wrong casting. So Bane, his writing was spot on. He was a perfect Bane. He was strong, but he had calculating moments. I don't think the costume design or the casting really worked all that well. It fits in the universe, but it is not as accurate to the comics. Now, I still do enjoy this. I really do enjoy the way they took it, and I think that was good for their franchise. I'm just comparing it to the comic books here, is the only reason he's in there. And we have Lois Lane. She seemed useless in Batman v Superman. Man of Steel, she was pretty good. I do admit that. She had great writing in that one. Batman v Superman, the writing was not on par with her. She just seemed like she was there just because Superman, she had to be with Superman and Clark and all that, just because she had to be there. And in the first one, I could see her being a reporter, but a lot of the different puff pieces, as Ben Affleck's Batman says, it just didn't feel fleshed out all that much. Then we have Sharon Carter's niece. I forget what her name is. I know she goes by Agent 13. Pretty sure, at least. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure it's Agent 13. She seemed like her flip to villainy in Falcon and Winter Soldier was out of the blue. I still don't know what's up with that or why that happened. She does not seem like the type to do that. And she was good in Winter Soldier. She was really good in that one. I just don't think the whole flipping out of nowhere was just really much in character. Now, Storm, her character, I just didn't feel have a lot of writing behind her. I put her in the wrong category now. I'm actually thinking about it. Her look was spot on. She was an amazing Storm look, but she didn't have like the elegance behind the character, which is something I don't think a lot of them have gotten down yet. Next, we have Mr. Fantastic. Now, I think he was a little too silly. He has always been more scientific. He's always been really scientific. They wrote him a little bit scientific, but overall really silly, which was a nice break of pace, and it fit the movie's tone very well, but I don't think he captured the character all too great. Next, we have Cyclops. This is mostly in X-Men 3, where this actor takes a turn. He just seems way too brutish. He seems like he's brooding a little too much in these movies. He acts a lot more like Logan, not like the X-Men movie Logan. But more like Logan, as in he's brooding too much. He's always mourning Jean, and then he dies once Jean comes back. Yeah, he didn't do very much, and it was more Storm and Wolverine leading the team than anybody. His powers were cool. I just don't think he, captured that leader spirit that Cyclops has. Next we have Mystique. Mystique I've never seen as a hero, which is why this portrayal confuses me. I do like the storytelling aspect of it. It was quite interesting, and I still do really enjoy the story parts of it, but it isn't quite Mystique from the comics. Mystique has never been a hero. At some point, she's, wanted her children back, being Rogue and Nightcrawler. I'm not sure whether Rogue is her child in the comic books. Might be. But in both the cartoon series, it is. And it really does seem like they're trying to turn Mystique into an anti-hero, and she's always been the mysterious villain behind the scenes. Two-Face, I just think he acted a little too much like the Joker in that movie. Just a wee bit too much. And Nightcrawler, I just think he had not quite the right appearance. He seems a little, like his face seems off to me. Him wanting to explore the world makes complete sense, but overall, I just didn't care for that portrayal. Perfect casting, bad writing. So, Storm, all these are really, they look their parts, and for the most part, they do have their roles, quite well. But the writing was really bad. The worst example is probably Harry Osborn, where he comes out of the blue, which I can buy, he's a millionaire's son, he comes when his father is sick, but him turning just, evil. Now, Peter was a jerk in this movie for not giving him the blood. There were a lot of things, there have been so many arguments about the whole Peter's blood situation. Yeah, no, he was good casting, and I liked him as Harry. He was a terrible Green Goblin, though. And then show all the other ones. Next, we have perfect casting with good writing. Now, all these have really good writing, and their casting was flawless, but they aren't the top of the top actors. Let's let you guys look at those for a quick second. Now, Venom. I do agree that it is not the comic Venom, but hear me out. He is the anti-Peter in these movies. He is what Peter would be if he had no moral compass. And for being that, I think he was a perfect portrayal. Although the Venom stuff was a little rushed. And next, we have Phenomenal. So, I think all these portrayals were really, really good. Ben Affleck's Batman, it did capture him being an older Batman really well, I do think. I think having a solo Batman movie would have helped him a lot. And I am super excited to see him and Michael Keaton as Batman again in the Flash movie. Overall, I think this section and casting for this section, they did what they were trying to do really well. But what they were trying to do didn't quite capture the spirit. So, in Phenomenal, we have all of these. Oh, also, if there's any questions, just comment it down below. It might take me a couple days, because YouTube's comment email system is not the greatest. And yeah. I do think all these portrayals were spot on. And absolutely perfect. I just noticed Daredevil's in there twice. But yeah, it was over. All these actors on the top do flawless jobs, and I think they capture their character's spirit the best. Bullseye and Green Goblin over there in the corner, and Jack Nicholson Joker being some of the greatest ones out there. I love Bullseye. He's the reason I come back to the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Everything else is a little hokey and stupid, but he's hokey and stupid, but he knows it. He has a ball with it. And Bullseye is hokey and stupid in the comics, and he knows it, and he has a ball with it. So I think he captured it perfectly. Overall, get one more look. And I know that one's from Split. I'm not sure why it was in here, but he did a good job as a little boy in Split. So, yeah. Do one more. Scroll down through all these. Let you guys take a little bit more of a look. And I know I sped up with a lot of the other ones, but the categories kind of say it. And it's a little easier to explain why something is bad than why it is good, other than just saying the same exact thing over and over. So I think I just knew I needed to say it in mass, because most of them I don't have very many comments on. Overall, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day.